All right, everybody, welcome to the next episode of Just About Boxing Jab University. Today is the first in a series we're going to call Prospect Watch. Jab University and Prospect Watch are brought to you by iBuild Texas. Check out our sister podcast, Jimmy's World. Both shows are available on all podcast platforms as well as YouTube. Today's special guest is none other than Daniel Bailey Jr. What's up, D?
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm always doing good. You've been a busy man lately.
Have to honestly. I think I'm trying to bring back the old school method of boxing,
Yeah,
staying
man.
active.
Yeah, every time I look up, you've been fighting. You fight first two fights in Mexico, then where'd you go? Third fight was
My third fight was in Alabama,
Alabama, and then you got that thing with Ring City, USA, where you got to fight
West
at
Point.
West Point, which is cool because you're a veteran. It's Memorial Day. I'm a military guy, so that was real cool. How was it up at West Point?
It was nothing but love, and it was really an honor to be able to compete and do your thing in front of your fellow soldiers and things like that.
Yeah, and you was in the Army's WCAP program prior to turning pro. Uh, and then I guess Boyd Melson was up there. He fought for West Point, and he was in the same program as you were. So I think he
Right,
had a bit. He was interviewing people and talking and stuff up there. So that was pretty cool. And then fifth fight, you was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina,
right.
and then you've already got two fights scheduled. You're about a week out, maybe 2 weeks out from your next fight.
Actually, I will be competing this weekend, June 5th in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, Jonesboro,
Oh,
Georgia.
Jonesboro, Georgia. Okay, so June 5th. Then you got June 18th in St. Pete.
Right, and then I have July 10th in Miami.
And that's cool for you because you from Miami.
Born and raised.
Born and raised in the county of Dade. All right,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Where you from in Miami? Let everybody know. Rep your hood, man.
I feel like I grew up in a lot of neighborhoods. We moved around a lot, but I definitely spent most of my time in Little Haiti.
Okay, that's what's up. My godfather James Jones grew up in the pork and beans, so it's kind of cool. We got some Miami ties. Um, your trainer, Maya Flowers, is a great friend of mine. We're from Memphis, right?
Right.
I worked managed him for a little bit, and we fought in Miami at the National Guard Armory down there. Him, his little brother, on a Henry Volta promotion. So got some Miami ties. How's that feel being able to go back home and get it in where it all started?
Um, it's crazy because I never invited any of my family to my fights back when I was fighting amateur and things like that. So now it's 6 years later after leaving off to the army, coming back it's like new people who's on the scene. They don't know that I'm like the old kid. I just went and came back, and now I'm like that guy.
That's what's
So
up,
it's gonna be
man.
great to showcase my talent in front of all my friends and family, and just be in that environment where it's nothing but genuine love.
All right, so that's cool, man. But from my experience, I want you to stay focused until after the fight. All right, home hometown fights get people sometimes, man. Especially a lot of pressure, a lot of people ask for tickets, stuff like that. So make sure you stay focused and stuff like that. Also, like you've been so busy, man. I'm running out of 9.99s to pay to watch you fight online, man. You gotta send me a
Man,
check at the end of the year, man. I'm gonna
hey,
write it
I
off on my
appreciate you.
taxes.
Write it off. Yeah, I was gonna say write it off on your taxes, man. They gonna get you back at the end.
Yeah, man. Every time I look up, man, I got to pay 9.99 again. Damn, slow down. Fight once a month. You fight. What it's gonna be? What twice in June already? So that's cool though. That's a lot of people don't get that. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't have your work ethic. You when you said you was gonna go pro, you came up and you sparred with some of my guys at the academy. I
Right.
appreciate you and Adrian Tillman for doing that, especially because most college boxers are novice, so it was a good chance for them to see you guys are both nationally ranked, and they got beat up a little bit. My guys beat y'all beat my guys up pretty good, but
Man, them guys got some conditioning though. Like,
oh yeah, I work the dog out of them, man. I got to get them to a higher level. The goal is, of course, to beat Army because we're the Air Force Academy,
right.
but but it was good. I really appreciated you guys coming out to help us. But when you said you was gonna go pro, you was feeling some management offers. You end up signing with Ryan Roach and Fighter Locker.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's doing his job because he's keeping you busy. Um, but you work hard. Every time I look up, you at a different gym. I know you trained at Triple Threat, which is owned by Charles Leverett, the director of the World Class Athlete Boxing Program. But I seen you in the
Correct.
old school gym. I seen you in Denver sparring up at TLC.
Right.
And then yeah, as soon as you got out, you went to where you at Tampa now.
Yeah. So basically when COVID hit, that's when I had to explore my other options as far as going to other gyms. I ended up working with a coach named Charlie, who was
Charlie
a part of
Ibarra.
right. He was a part of the World Class Athlete Program. And he had a gym inside his garage.
Okay. Yeah, I seen that. I seen you working with Charlie. And then you're all over the internet with your counter right hand clips is on every boxing your meme page, every boxing little Instagram page. And then so now you got out the arm. You did your first two fights. You were still on active duty, correct?
Right. Actually, I left with absent without leave to go ahead and get those fights, and I had to do whatever it took to make my dream happen. After I got out of the military, of course, I moved down to Tampa to work with Coach Mayette, who you introduced me to. So
Yeah,
I
that's
appreciate you
my
for that.
dog.
And
Yeah,
we just clicked it, like it was like premeditated or something.
yeah.
Like
Maya
everything
is
just went well together.
real good people, real knowledgeable person too. Real knowledgeable, real studious. Maya's always studying. So if anybody can gather anything from Mayet is he's always studying. The guy studies crazy. He should have a PhD in boxing sooner or later.
Man, definitely. I know for a fact that he got this saying that I always revert back to whenever I'm having like a slow day. If we got a game plan, we need to get them out of there. And I swear that's all it's been for me as far as turning professional. A lot of these other prospects, I don't like to talk down on anyone, but I'm pretty sure they go in there with the idea they just need to come ready in shape and they could destroy everybody. But for me, I come in shape and also have a plan for these guys. I don't care how they record look. I want to have a plan for these guys. So when I go in there, it's a flawless victory.
Yeah, and you would a trainer that trains hard. He trains a few other prospects. I seen him in the corner of Mike Cook. Mike Cook's what 17-0 or something like that now.
18-0 now.
18-0 now. And I seen him with the dog Donald Ward out of West Memphis,
Yes,
Arkansas.
sir. We
Yeah,
be work. Me and Donald be working, man. That dude do not stop. That man is a buzz saw.
yeah, man. I do remember Donald Ward. He was an amateur last time I actually seen him, but yeah, man. Works hard. He's got that. He's from West Memphis, Arkansas, but he might as well be from Memphis. That just grit, man. He's a gritty fighter. You know what I mean? So he come to spar. He gonna put in that work, man.
Right. It's
I
not
like
no
him a
easy
lot.
day.
Not no easy day. He trying to beat you every time he get in the ring.
Right.
Um, so how'd you hook up with Ryan Roach and Fighter Locker?
Actually, social media is it's crazy that social media is how we met. He was following me on Instagram for a while, but he never reached out to me. And you remember I was looking at my options as far as manage um a manager who could play that role and really take me to where I needed to be. So I reached out to him and I asked him, did he know any managers? And he said, actually, I manage fighters and I would like to take you on. So before I signed with him, I went to Coach Al. You know Coach Al, the
Mitchell.
old guru.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh man, I talked to Coach Al on the airplane one day. I just asked him questions of trying to pick his brain.
picking his brain.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wanted to tell me, man, shut up. I'm trying to sleep. But yeah, but Coach Al, what Coach Al tell you?
So Coach Al said, if you want to turn professional, you know what you need one thing. He put his finger to me and
A lawyer.
everything. A lawyer.
Yeah.
A
Yeah, he told me
lawyer.
same thing. Yeah, yeah, man. That's
So the
what's up.
first thing I did was I went to my brother who was already Robert Daniels Jr. He's about 4-0 as a professional right now. And I went to him and I asked him about this lawyer that he had who worked the case for him and everything. And he was good with boxing as well. So I signed with a lawyer actually to represent me. And then we worked out a great contract with Ryan and we got the ball rolling. My plan was to get fights started.
No, yeah, I see. Your video dropped
I'm
out, but
good.
you all right. Yeah.
All right, so my plan was to get my fight started before I left out the military. I wanted everything to be the foundation to be laid out for me. And that's exactly what Ryan did. He didn't miss like every shot he made, and we just been rocking and rolling. We treat everything like a family, everything put together. And my main thing was having a manager who understood my goals, and where their goals aligned with mine. So it was just perfect. Everyone else who wanted to sign me, none of those guys were bad guys. I just went for the choice that was best for my situation.
Yeah, and he got you your first two fights with Promociones Pequime, which is Franco Gabaldon, who I know pretty well. And then once you got out, you go ahead. You moved to Tampa. What prompted the move to Tampa instead of going back home to Miami?
I don't believe in going back to some place that you already I lived in Miami my whole life, so I already had it in my mind not to go back there because I didn't want to fall back into the same routine of being there before. And Coach Mayette was out here in Tampa, so I felt like it was the best move for me because I don't need a remote trainer. I need my trainer there with me every day.
Yeah, real hands-on training. Yeah,
Right. And that's how he is. It's like we don't have a fight coming up. We still in there drilling and things like that. Like,
yeah, drillers make killers, man. Yeah, he like I say, he's a good trainer. I think in the next few years, people are gonna realize how good of a trainer he really, really is, and he's gonna be big time one day, and so will you. And so you were in the Army's world class athlete program. What is so? Would you just box in the Army? I did something similar in the Marines, but how like how'd you get into that program?
so I knew about the world class athlete program back when I was in the ninth grade, and it was always in my plan when I was in JRTC to complete my 4 years in high school and go off to the military and compete and fight for the Army. I went to all Army, won that about 3, 4 times, and then finally I went to nationals, placed top 3, and then I was able to go PCS over to Fort Carson, and then I started training over there with the World Class Athlete Program. A normal day is strength and conditioning in the morning. We have a boxing workout in the evening, and then for me, I would go to Coach Leverett's personal gym, which is triple threat boxing gym, and do a second workout with a fighter turned trainer named Nehemiah New. And then I would go to 24-hour fitness and do a run. Like I was just I had it in my head that if I work harder than these guys, that I was gonna get the job done. But then it's more to amateur boxing than just working hard and things like that. It's having the right style for the amateurs. I had a style that could bring me success, but I don't think I had the style to get me over that hump to make the Olympic team. And it's okay because I know I'm going to be a real champion one day with my boxing style, and I know I had a work ethic, and I live like a fighter, so I know that's going to be put me in the 2 percentile there at the top because a lot of guys have a natural talent and have all the resources at hand, but they don't live like fighters. They when they got to fight, that's when they want to live like a fighter. For me, it's year round. It's a lifestyle for me.
Yeah, man. And I always see you posting at every other gym. You're there. And then I interviewed a 13-year-old kid yesterday, and he told me crazy thing: hard work and dedication over talent. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Right, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Wise beyond his years. His name is Cavante James K. Dot. Shout out to K. Dot, man. That was a real gem he dropped on me. And then so you at the world class athlete program, Army pays for y'all to go to just about every tournament out there.
Right.
Uh, you fought the who's who in amateur boxing: Shakur Stevenson, Bruce Carrington, Sean Mondragon, Dominique Crowder, Jap the Lee, Lamido. You fought Keisha. You fought everybody. Uh, yeah, you really did. How how is that amateur experience translating to the pros, and do you see a correlation between amateur and pros, or is it two different sports? I was telling somebody else I was interviewing, I was following this discussion on the internet where a trainer was saying amateur boxing and pro boxing are so different now. Being a great amateur doesn't translate into being a great pro anymore. Because they're so different, the way they're scored, the way they're viewed, the way they're marketed. Do you see any correlation between the two, or do you kind of agree with that assessment?
I agree with that assessment because it's definitely a difference. Of course, the smaller gloves and the way they score everything, and then it's just things leading up into like when I feel like amateur boxing is more like when you're in school as a kid. It's like yeah, it's not your main job. It's not like the main thing you're doing. So of course you got other things, but you kind of like protect it because you're still a kid. When the pro world, it's like real life comes. Then it's like, oh, shit, you got guys who are opponents, like they could be good at, you could be a good amateur and then you sign a wrong contract and then you're in a bad situation. When the amateur is like, you could lose today and then tomorrow you could be the number one in the nationals and things like that. Like your life it could flip like that. When
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the pros, you seen top prospects and world champions, they take that 1 or 2 L's and it's like they back all the way to the bottom, working their way back up. It's not impossible to get back up, but it's a longer road. It's definitely different sports. It's a lot more aspects into it as far as marketing, having the right people around you and things like that. Amateur boxing is like, as long as you got one good coach, you all right. You ain't got to worry about all the other dynamics of it as far as, man, is this manager gonna try to take everything from me? Is this manager getting offered more money than what he's telling me and things like that? It's a lot more into it, but I like it more because you got so much more control. Like, yeah, you could possibly get in the hands of the wrong people, but you got to keep your mind on right. You stay focused. It's all easy.
Yeah, and having a good team is, I think people don't talk about it enough. Having a good team,
Right.
whether it's management, promotion, trainer, strength and conditioning, dietitian, what have you. Some teams have all that. Some teams where I grew up, the trainer is all of that. Um, so now that you become a pro, you're living this pro lifestyle. You at one point in time you were modeling. Are you still doing that?
I am. I'm doing freelance modeling, right? But I haven't been doing as many shoots because I've been so active with boxing. That's
Yeah.
the downside to it. It's like every day I got training. So it's hard to squeeze shoots into it. But I plan on by the end of this year doing a lot more shoots. So whoever got me on Instagram gonna be like, man, I'm tired of seeing this dude.
Yeah, man. Look, man. I hope they get tired of seeing you because that means you busy and you being posted
Right.
more often than not. So how did you get into the modeling?
I was I was dealing with a female who was into modeling and told me that she think it'll be a good fit for me.
Yeah,
And after that,
I was rocking with your modeling. Then you took this butt naked picture. I was like, man, if he don't stop,
hey,
I'm gonna get mad and beat him up.
hey, that was so. The story on that, the photographer posted that and tagged me in it on Facebook because me and you, we people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, all I know, I just seen my phone. I woke up to my phone and I'm like, yo, I'm getting all these comments, and I was like, oh, my
Yeah,
mom, my
man.
grandma, my aunts,
Man,
everybody was clowning me.
man, I was upset. I was like, hey man, if this don't get off my timeline, I'm gonna be mad. I ain't gonna like it. And when I see him, we gonna talk about it. Like, what you doing, man?
Man, they was clowning. I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna just eat this one. Sometimes you just gotta
Yeah,
roll with
you
the
just got
punches.
you gotta roll with it. Yeah. But hey, look, maybe people saw it, man. A whole lot of people saw it. Um, have you have you noticed either boxing has brought you more modeling gigs and shoots, or modeling has brought you, some more attention to boxing? Have you noticed they go hand in hand?
Hand in hand, definitely. For a lot of the like, for example, all of the flyers that's been coming out, those are actually shoots that I've done, and they
Yeah.
use those photos. Yeah, those like actual shoots. It's like I'm not gonna have my hand down here. Those actual shoots, I was doing it, and they
Yeah, I
used
seen
it.
the
Yeah,
the one with the gold trunks is what they was using for the Ring City joint. Is they using that one for the, I think, the Miami one too, right?
right. Like I have like that's just one shoot. They got like all of the pictures from that. So the photographer who worked with me on that, he's actually ex-military too. My guy, we've been doing
It,
more shoots. We got more ideas to come. I got a new
it,
uniform, huh?
the military is definitely a brotherhood. Have you found it as a networking tool? Like, hey yo, I'm a soldier, I'm a Marine, I'm Air Force, what are Air Force guys, airman, sailor. Like you find like a brotherhood there, and you ever notice it helps you network a little bit?
Definitely. It's like we in our own little role, because we all went through the same things, so we understand each other most. Like, you know how it is. You could know a guy for 10 minutes, but y'all going through the same shit. It's like that's your best friend now.
Yeah, man. You build bonds that last a lifetime. Like I met Lev back in like '04 or '05 where he was fighting or then coaching for all army WCAP, and then out of nowhere I get this job up here in Colorado 2019. First person welcomed me up here, Lev. I was like, hey, what's up, man? Like it was cool to see a familiar face, and these are lifelong bonds. Um, so let's talk about your amateur career a little bit. Because you don't have a long pro career. And it seems like you're gonna fight the pro career same way you fight the amateur career every weekend. So how how old were you when you started this journey of boxing? And with that question, the second part is how long, well, at what age did you decide boxing is what I plan to do for the long haul?
I was about 11 years old when I was introduced to the sport. Basically, I had a neighbor who was holding mitts for his nephew, and then I went over to across the street, like a little project kid, and was like, I could do that. So we started working and everything. Once I got about 13, 14 years old, got into a real boxing gym where I met Robert Daniels Sr. He was WBA Cruiserweight World Champion, fought David Tua.
Yeah.
So once I got there, it just the ball kept rolling, and I knew, man, my first week at a real boxing gym, I got back to the car when my grandma was picking me up, and I was like, Grandma, I'm ready to fight.
Oh, that's what's up.
She was like, you ready to fight? You been there for a week. I'm like, when you know, you know. And the ball just kept rolling. Honestly, I feel like God just told me it was for me, because it was so many situations where that boxing gym got closed down, but it was God made a way for me to get to another boxing gym. Like he kept it in my life the whole time. When I didn't know what I was going to do at the high school, the Army program presented itself, and it's just been rolling. Every time this girl who I know, she told me when God just keep making a way for you to do something, I mean, it's really meant for you. So I definitely believe that.
Yeah, me too. I'm a strong believer in boxing saves lives. It saved mine. And it's done that for a lot of people. And like she said, hey man, if it just keeps showing up, man, maybe it's meant for you to do.
Right.
Yeah. So and how many fights did you have in the amateurs?
I had about 100 bouts. But on box rec, it's not even displaying my wins. I'm like, what's
Oh
going
yeah.
on here?
And that's a lot of just national tournaments, and then it only goes back so far. And then I think USA Boxing just started the last few years this match tracker thing. So, if it was in your book before before match tracker showed up, it ain't gonna be there. So
Right. So I got like my book is as older than me.
yeah.
It look like it's older than me, but it has all my fights in it. I got about 100 bouts, and I fought everyone. I got on the national scene, and it just started rolling for me. It's crazy because my first national tournament, I end up getting featured in what's that, Ringside magazine. I have
Yeah.
Mexican trunks and everything. So I just always been blessed to get in that spotlight.
Yeah, man. Highly favored, it seems, man. So but thinking back to the amateurs, because I know you ain't had no hard fights as a pro, like 27 seconds, 40 some odd seconds, you getting them out of there. But you thinking back to the amateurs, like what was the hardest bout you ever had?
The hardest bout I ever had. Honestly, when I think of hard, because I have fights where I'm like, damn, I can't get to this dude like I want to. Like it's all like when I boxed against Keyshawn at 132, I was just coming out of the field, and then it was like, hey, you want to go to this national tournament? And it was willing to pay for it. I was like, bum, I'm there. Even though I was a 123 pounder, I boxed him. That was a tough fight, but it wasn't like something I was like, damn, it's the hardest fight I ever had. I remember back in California, I fought this kid. He's still on the boxing scene, actually, Kevin Montana.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking. I went in that fight, like I had like a smoothie and stuff. Like I was taking it easy. Like I had a smoothie. I didn't even fill up, like refill like I was supposed to. And I went in that fight and I was drained. And that was like the longest 3 minutes, like three-minute rounds I ever had. I'm like, yo, this dude fucking mauling the shit out of me. Like he's somebody who's like, he's working in the pocket, he's mushing your head, and it's so dirty. That was like one of my toughest bouts. But in the amateurs, it's like you fight so often. It's like, man, one day you having your toughest bout with one style, and the next day you having your best day with the same style. So it's like, I had a lot of hard fights, but I also had a lot of fights that were like, oh, I could adapt to that. And I know for a fact those same styles that I had a hard time with in the amateurs, I wouldn't have that same hard time in the pro, because in the pro it's not you looking at a bout sheet, you figuring out who you fighting that same day after you weigh in. It's like you get time to prepare and game plan for these guys. It's more rounds and things like that.
And what is your favorite moment in amateur boxing, whether it's a fight, a tournament, making a certain team, or hitting a certain level? What is your favorite moment in amateur boxing?
My first national tournament, first national title win. I was at the ringside rails. I won it at 100 pounds, but it was just like 100 pounds. It was my first, like, it was like guys, they go to nationals, they got to get seasoned to win these tournaments. And I went there and won it my first time. And I was just like, because it was my first time on a plane and everything, like first time on the projects, like it was just first everything. And God made a way for me. But it was definitely a real good moment going to Silver Gloves, and then people seeing me on the ringside magazine and like, oh, that's the kid from the magazine. You hearing the whispers. It's a great feeling.
You still got a copy of the magazine?
I got a picture of it. I don't have the original.
Oh, we gotta have to give a ringside to see if they can find that magazine. I know you can get the back, the older magazines. Get them send it to you. Man.
Cam Austin was on the front of it, and I was on the second sheet, second page. So I remember that. After I get my world title, next thing you know, ringside gonna be posting it on
everywhere. Everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Posting it everywhere.
And did you grow up in one of them households? I know y'all from Florida. Y'all got football players and track athletes. The fastest people from, they call it the muck, somewhere out there. And but
I forgot the name of the
that's
city.
By Lake,
yeah.
Was it by Lake Okeechobee or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Pahokee.
The Hokie, yeah. But like, is there a lot of boxers that came out of Miami?
It's crazy because a lot of guys in the Miami circuit, they kind of like short amateur careers, then turn professional. So that most of the time, unless you're really special, that turns out them guys turn into opponents. But now this new generation, where we got the amateur experience and we got the charismatic fighters and things like that. So we starting to be on the up and up. As far as South Florida, we got Teofimo Lopez was actually in the Florida boxing circuit.
Yeah, and, he is. Yeah, and then I think my boy Lee Gladden out of Gainesville is working with Teofimo and their team. He was in the Marines back in the Gap. So yeah, he did come out of Florida, even though he's from New York or something like that.
Yeah, they claim New York. Erickson Lubin.
Yeah, Erickson Lubin out of Florida too, man.
We got all of the Cuban, everybody who's Cuban out there in Miami.
Yeah, Cubans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, all Latinos out there. Yeah, I've seen quite a few of them. Then you guys had back in the day, Winter Haven, Florida. You had Andre Berto,
Keith Thurman, Talbert, Roy.
Roy, of course, Roy out of Picola. Picola in the house.
Yes, sir.
Then you had Winky Wright. It was trained out, was with Dan Birmingham and those guys out there. Jeff Left Hook Lacey. So Florida, who did you
Whitaker trained out there?
Yeah, and even Muhammad Ali was in. Angelo Dundee had a gym out there.
Yeah, and Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, a lot of people. So Florida, what's up, man? Is there somebody you watched all the time coming up? Like, who was your go-to? I'm gonna watch this fight. This fighter.
So you guys can look this up. This fighter, old school fighter named Sandy Sadler, and people used to always say I look like him.
126 pounder. Fought Willow the Wisp,
Willie Pep.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so my dad really had me watching Sandy Sadler a lot, man. So you watched a lot of Sandy Sadler coming up. That's cool. Black and white film. A lot of people ain't into that.
Man, I used to watch. So I went to go look at Sandy because they said we look so much alike, and that's actually one of my nicknames down in Miami. But when I looked, I watched him fight Willie Pep, and I was watching Willie more than I was watching Sandy. And then it's funny because the same guy who told me I look like Sandy Sadler said I fight like Willie Pep.
Yeah,
watch their fight.
Yeah,
Like, cause you know I use my legs a lot and things like that.
yeah. This even though Sandy Sadler won the majority of those fights, I just want to make it clear. Willie Pep was the Flash, great defensive fighter. Willow the Wisp, man. Um, Anybody you watch now that you're in the pro scene, they kind of your peers, but who do you watch now?
I love watching all defensive fighters. Anybody who has a good defense, I like watching those guys. Those guys who got automatic defense when it's built in, like they roll in after they throw shots and things like that. So I get little pieces from everyone. I like watching Canelo with the upper body movement. He kind of have a different defense from he sees him a little bit more upright than how Pernell Whitaker was. Pernell was changing levels a lot more. You got Floyd, who was a little upright, but behind the shoulder. Then you got Napoleono. He's an old school fighter. The
Nicolino
Argentinian.
Loche, yeah,
Yeah,
Argentinian dude, yeah, dude just rolled his head all over the place, and
right. He had a
yeah,
crazy head movement. And
yeah,
then
he'd
you
make
have
fighters quit with his defense.
right. And like them dudes threw 1,000 punches and kept missing. Then you got Wilfredo Benitez, where he was part of that fabulous four, really.
Yeah, he should have been the fifth king out there from
Right.
Puerto Rico, one of their youngest champs. Yeah, you watched that with Fredo Benitez versus Roberto Duran. That was some of the most beautiful boxing I ever seen in a fight, man. That's just
And that's
good
one of them
stuff.
guys who got that rhythm and able to just like flow with it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to John Scully because Wilfredo Benitez isn't doing good, and John Scully gets a lot of money sent to him and Gerald McClellan and other fighters that are kind of down and out at the moment or need assistance. Is there some amateur fighters you watch, or you like I'm beyond that, or is it like, man, I got to watch out for this guy? Yeah, is anything like that going on?
Um, Honestly, I haven't been watching amateur boxing lately, but I like watching the females a little bit more than I like watching the males because they way more technically sound than the males, man. Like you tell a female to throw the right hand a certain way, she's throwing it exactly how you tell her to throw it. Where the dudes they questioning they're like, man, but it feel better this way and things like that. But the women, they so crafty these days. And I'm excited actually to see a lot of these female amateur boxers transition into the pros so that sport could grow.
Yeah, just one I trained that I tell everybody she's a coach's dream. Her name is Ariana Carrasco. She the national champion at 141 in the youth division. She'll make the jump to the elites in December. But yeah, you're right. Hey, throw it like this. Okay, you did it like this. She does it
Right.
exactly how you want it to be done. Um, so now you're in the pros. Has anybody like the promoters shown any interest, or you don't know yet, or
I've been seeing I'm not gonna lie, I've been getting a little bit of hot feet when it comes to seeing other fighters getting signed by promoters now that the COVID thing is ending. And I've been told to just stay patient and things like that. Cause I'm like, I see somebody get signed and I'm like, yo, hey Ryan, can you go reach out to them? Cause they signing people and things like that. He's like, no, just be patient because you feel like
you
he don't want
froze
me
up?
signing with lower. He
Yeah,
want me to be on the biggest platform. He don't want me signing with lower promoters and things like that. He want me to get that maximum exposure.
yeah, and then patience is a virtue. And as I got older and I learned, not every time is the right time. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, just wait your time. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be checking for you, um, especially as good as you are and as popular you are on social media. I Even though I don't want to talk about it, I got asked what you think about these YouTubers out here getting money in a sport you've dedicated your life to.
Um, you can't knock anyone for making money. They're not cheating the game or anything like that. Basically, prospects when they're coming up in the boxing world, we get lesser opponents to build up and get more comfortable in the ring. They're basically the reason why they're making so much money is because how marketable they are and their following. And for me, if you able to make my fight in Miami, you will see that I'm taking things from them. Like I'm coming out with Sebastian mascot with me. Like so
Okay.
we need to take notes, take things from them because if they doing that and they can't fight, if we do what they're doing as far as the marketing part and we can fight, imagine how big we can be. So I just like to look at everything through a positive light.
Yeah, and yeah, you got better record than both of them. So, you know what I mean? So, hopefully it works out in that favor. And I noticed you've been doing some podcasts, like one of my Marine homies, Pole Politic, and he likes to interview you. How's is that a new, I guess, avenue to get your voice out, or get your picture out, or your just your image out there?
Not really, because coming from the world class athlete program, we had media training, and I'm pretty sure people think that I'm a well-spoken dude and everything like that. And I pride myself on being well-spoken. So I'm comfortable with being in front of a camera, and the media training helps me. Like if it's a question I'm getting asked and I'm like, I don't really have an answer for, I could sway away from it, finesse my way out of it. That's the
Okay,
Miami
yeah.
in me.
Oh yeah, and that media training is a benefit, because I guess the world class athlete program kind of belongs to Army Recruiting Command, so it's necessary for you guys. Don't say nothing stupid to embarrass Uncle Sam.
Right. You got to carry yourself a certain way.
Yeah, so that's cool. And so I started this podcast because I'm a boxing guy, and most of the general public uh are not boxing people, and it's hard for me to relate, because all I want to talk about is boxing. And
Right.
even it's other sports and stuff like that, so I want to talk to the boxers. Do you find it, just being so dedicated to boxing, so involved in boxing, that it's hard for you to like just relate to the everyday person?
In a way it is, in a way it isn't, because I think I'm a people person, so I can relate to people easily. As far as when people talk about certain championships out of boxing, I'm lost, completely lost. I'm like, they in the finals
Oh
and
yeah.
things like right. I'm like lost. I'm like, yo, the playoffs already started. I'm like, it don't even seem like it's not hyped up enough for me. Um, with me being a boxer, and it's an individual sport, I pay attention to these. When I pay attention to other sports, I pay attention to how they train, not really
Yeah.
how they playing. Like if I'll go look at Cam Newton, I'm watching how he working out and stuff like that. I'm not really watching his games. So that's the difference.
And another big part of boxing that I like to focus on a lot is the mental preparation for a fight. You're going out to dominate another human, to engage in hand-to-hand combat with another man. How do you prepare for that mentally? I find fighting to be a very unnatural thing to do for a lot of people. But if you're good at it, you're good at it. How do you get ready here for a fight?
For me, I feel like I'm a thinking spider. So I'm a thinker definitely inside the ring. So when a fight gets close, I'm always studying my opponents, of course, and everything is well planned out as far as training, recovery being really big, because a lot of people don't do recovery. And my coach always tell me the difference between a champion and an opponent is their recovery, because they don't have those resources available to them. So I'm always in there thinking as far as game plan. Once you're in shape, you go to camp. The first thing you should do is get in shape. Then next thing is working on your game plan. And then the third thing is cutting the weight off, which is the easiest part when you're eating right and you living right. And basically that last week, you just mentally get yourself prepared to what you want to do. When you go into the ring, you just work your plan. And then if it's something you have to adapt to, you just adapt to it in the ring or with your coach. You guys speak and have a conversation in the corner. Um, Mentally preparing myself. For me, it's all about preparation. It's like my confidence comes from how I prepare, flat out. That's why I put my most time in preparing. Like I'm out here working 3-4 times a day. I don't care. Like I need to be prepared. I know if I'm in shape, being my best self, no one can beat me.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, getting prepared here. A confident fighter is a very hard fighter to beat too. So if you
A
got
happy fighter, also.
a
Yeah.
very happy fighter, yeah. Um, I noticed, like, because you're fighting so often now, like, do you take time out of the gym, or is it like, I fought Saturday, I got to be back to work on Monday? What's that like for you?
Kind of have a ritual. So after I fight Saturday, I always go for a run Sunday, get my weight right back down so I could walk around 34 when I'm fighting at 26. I'm walking around light. I get right, so that week following my fight, it's a recovery week or active recovery. So the first 3 days I'm just doing cardio, and then I start back boxing and punching things, and then I just keep flowing. It's like we had to make adjustments, because I was fighting so often, because I'm already in shape. So now it's just maintaining. is not really getting back in shape because a training camp is built to get a fighter in shape, then get the weight off. But when you fighting as often as I am and the weight is already basically off and you're already in shape, it's game planning, working on new things. So it make it easier. People will think, oh man, honestly, I don't understand how fighters not living like this already.
Yeah, like Canelo, he said, man, look, yeah, I don't care when I fight, I'm back in the gym 1 week later. And he's fighting 12 round
Right.
fights. He's worth millions and millions of dollars. But I think that comes with being a professional. It's the professional thing to do is to get right back to work. I think that's just a professional thing to do. Uh, before I let you go, how do people get a hold of you on social media? I know you active on there, the gram, Facebook. Uh, I don't know the other social media. I'm old, man, so let me know.
You could anybody could follow me on Facebook at Daniel Bailey. Anyone can follow me on Instagram at Daniel Bailey Jr. _. My profile is private. Boxer, model, U.S. Army veteran.
All right, and anything you want to say to the fans out there, or people just getting to know you, people that will see this interview here? Anything you want to say to them?
Keep an eye out for me. My cheat code for success is hard work, dedication, and resiliency. When you go through hard things, you continue to move forward, and eventually those hard things won't get easier, but you'll get stronger.
All right, that's good to hear from you, man. Everybody, check out Daniel Bailey Jr. Like and subscribe to our page. Follow him on social media. With that said, I'll let you go. Enjoy your Memorial Day.
Man, have a blessed one.
All right, thanks, man.